My wife told me not to wait up while she partied with her high school ex, so I didn't text, didn't call, just vanished for 48 hours while her voicemail spiraled from cocky to panic to straight up begging me to come home. I didn't plan on hiding in my own hallway, but that's exactly where I was. Pressed against the drywall, hard in my throat, listening to my girlfriend scream on the other side of our apartment door. Eli, open the damn door. Where were you for 2 days? Why would you do this to me? Her voice cracked hard enough to make my chest tighten, but I stayed quiet. Not because I was scared, because this time I needed the silence to speak for me. 48 hours earlier, I watched her walk out wearing a dress I'd never seen her put on for me. She'd left a faint kiss mark on my cheek, the kind she usually saved for special occasions. Except this special occasion was her ex-boyfriend's birthday, and I wasn't invited. Her exact words were, "I'm going to Mason's party on Saturday. You weren't invited. Don't wait up." The way she said it, the tone, the shrug, the complete dismissal, hit deeper than she realized. It wasn't a conversation. It wasn't even a warning. It was an order, and something in me snapped. But not loudly, quietly, fatally quietly. When she came home that night expecting to see me pacing the living room, worried and jealous, she instead found the apartment empty. My notes sat on the counter, the bedroom untouched, my phone turned off. That's when her messages started. First angry, then confused, then desperate, then something else, something I couldn't name yet. But it wasn't until I returned, calm, rested, carrying an overnight bag, that the situation exploded. Now she was pounding on our door like she was trying to break it off the hinges. "You can't shut me out like this. Eli, open the door. We need to talk." I finally twisted the lock and stepped back as the door flew open. Riley stormed inside like a hurricane, cheeks streaked with mascara, hair tangled like she'd been dragging her hands through it non-stop. She looked wrecked, but angry, furious, beneath it. "Where were you?" Each word dropped like a stone. "At my brother's," I said evenly. "For 2 days? Without telling me? Without answering your phone? You made me think you were dead." I stayed quiet. She hated when I stayed quiet. "You did this," I finally said. "You told me not to wait up, so I didn't." Her face went cold in a way I had never seen before. Rage folded into something darker, sharper, like I just hit a nerve she'd spent years protecting. "You left because of Mason?" she demanded. "You're that insecure?" "Insecure?" I laughed once, bitter. "You spent 3 hours getting ready to see your ex. You put on perfume I bought you for Christmas. You told me I wasn't invited. Then you planned to stay out all night. That doesn't mean you get to disappear. You disappeared first," I said. I just matched the energy. Something flickered in her eyes. Not guilt, not regret, recognition, like I had accidentally stepped into a room I was never supposed to find. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You really shouldn't have done that, Eli." Something in the way she said it made my stomach drop. "What does that mean?" I asked, but she only smiled, small, chilling, and way too knowing. "What do you think happened at that party?" she whispered. My blood ran cold, because suddenly I wasn't sure if I wanted the answer. Before everything went sideways, before the dress, the party, the silence, and the threats, Riley and I used to be the couple people pointed to and said, "They've got it figured out." We had that easy kind of relationship, the kind where Sundays meant pancakes, errands, and trash reality TV. The kind where you didn't have to explain every little insecurity because the other person already knew. At least that's what I thought. We met in Charlotte, North Carolina, at a friend's game night. She was loud, competitive, quick to laugh. She beat everyone at categories and accused me of cheating with a smile so bright it felt like a dare. By the end of the night, she asked for my number. I liked her confidence. I liked how she made everything feel simple. But there were signs, small at first, that she needed attention like oxygen. She'd flip out if I didn't respond to texts fast enough. She'd get irritated when my friends needed me. She'd go quiet and cold if I made plans without looping her in first. Still, she could be affectionate, warm, magnetic. That side of her made it easy to ignore the darker parts. And for a long time, things were good. A little unbalanced maybe, but good. Until Mason showed up in the picture. Her high school ex. The first love. The guy she insisted she was totally over but still followed on social media. Still liked every post. Still talked about in that weird, nostalgic tone. I never made a big deal out of him because, honestly, I didn't want to be the insecure boyfriend stereotype. But the cracks started forming last year. One night we were watching a movie and her phone kept buzzing. She ignored it until she didn't. She giggled and said, "Oh my God, Mason's dog had puppies." Like this man hadn't once broken her heart so violently she refused to date anyone for an entire year after. I remember saying, half joking, "He texts you a lot." She shrugged. "We're just friends." But she said it too fast. Too defensive. A few months later, I found her scrolling through old pictures. Not ours, hers and Mason's. She claimed she was cleaning out her gallery. Her ears turned red when she said it. Riley only blushed like that when she was lying. Still, I let it go. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You give them the benefit of the doubt. You assume they wouldn't hurt you on purpose. Then came the weird withdrawal. She started going out more with coworkers. She got more protective of her phone. Always face down, always locked, always on silent. When I asked about it, she'd brush me off. "You're overthinking. You get paranoid sometimes, Eli. It's cute but exhausting." She said it like a joke. I tried to laugh along. But something inside me was shifting. I couldn't name it yet. Not then. Still, nothing prepared me for the moment she dropped her little bomb in our kitchen. So casually I almost missed how cruel it was. "Oh, by the way, I'm going to Mason's birthday party this Saturday. You weren't invited. Don't wait up." I remember freezing, knife in hand, onion half chopped. She didn't even look up from her phone. That was the moment something inside me turned cold. Not angry cold. Like a switch flipped. Like I finally saw the shape of a pattern I'd been ignoring. Riley thought she could do anything and I'd roll over. And for years she was right. But not anymore. The week leading up to Mason's birthday felt wrong in a way I couldn't fully explain. Riley was jittery, glued to her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't show me. Whenever I walked into a room, she'd tilt her screen away a little too fast. She started wearing makeup to work again, doing her hair more often, spritzing the perfume I got her for Christmas even on days she claimed she was just running errands. I tried to tell myself I was imagining things. But the truth was simpler and sharper. She was preparing for something, and I wasn't part of it. Thursday night, she sat on the couch scrolling while I made dinner. When she finally told me about the party, she delivered it with that tone, casual, distant, calculated. A tone meant to signal that she'd already made the decision and my feelings weren't part of the equation. I didn't fight. I didn't beg. I didn't even ask questions. Something in her eyes flickered. Like she'd been expecting me to explode, and she didn't know how to process my calm. Instead of being relieved, she seemed irritated, almost disappointed. Friday she came home from work in an oddly good mood, humming to herself like she was the one with a secret. When I asked how her day went, she said, "Just work stuff," and kissed my cheek like everything was normal. But she kept checking her phone, and that smile she kept trying to hide wasn't for me. Saturday afternoon, she started getting ready. Not the casual light makeup she did for brunch or errands. I mean full glam, contour, lashes, red lipstick, hair curled in soft waves. She wore a deep emerald dress that hugged her body in a way I had never once seen her wear for our date nights. She even changed perfume halfway through, settling on something stronger, sexier. "Wow," I said when she walked out. "You look really dressed up." She paused, almost annoyed that I'd noticed. "It's a big night. Everyone from high school will be there." "Except me," I said. She blinked, caught for half a second, then shrugged. "You wouldn't know anyone. It's just easier." "Easier for who?" But I let it slide. She checked herself in the mirror again. Twice. Then grabbed her purse and phone. "I might crash at Brooks if it goes late. You know how these things get." "Sure," I said. "Enjoy yourself." She froze in the doorway. That wasn't the reaction she expected. She studied me for a moment, waiting for jealousy, protest, anything she could twist into an accusation. Nothing came. Her shoulders dropped, but not with relief, with confusion. "Okay," she said finally. "Thanks for being mature about it." Then she left. The second the door closed behind her, I turned my phone off, packed my bag, and headed out. Not to chase her, not to test her, just to live my damn life without sitting home like some placeholder. What I didn't expect was how fast her tone would start slipping. By 9 p.m., dozens of missed texts. By midnight, frantic calls. By 2 a.m., voicemails so desperate they didn't even sound like her. But it was the one at 3:17 a.m. that stuck with me. Her voice was shaking, panicked, almost scared. "Eli, please call me. Something happened. I need you. I need you to answer. Please. Something happened." But she didn't say what, and I didn't call back. I didn't even hear those messages until Sunday morning. By then, whatever happened at Mason's party was already done. I didn't expect Riley to be sitting on the couch when I walked into the apartment Sunday night. She'd been pacing. There was a groove in the carpet. And when she saw me, her whole body jolted like she'd been hit with electricity. "You need to explain yourself," she snapped. But her voice wasn't angry. It was shaking. I dropped my bag. "Explain myself? Riley, you—" "No," she cut in, stepping closer. "I asked you a question earlier, and you didn't answer it." Her eyes were locked onto mine in a way that felt less like a stare and more like surveillance. "What do you think happened at that party?" The question had been haunting me since she first whispered it. Now it hit harder, like there was a correct answer and a wrong one that would blow up everything. "I don't know," I said carefully. "Why don't you tell me?" Her expression twisted. Fear, anger, something else. Something I couldn't place. "You really want to know?" "Yes." She took a breath, steadying herself. Then she said it. "Mason kissed me." The words hit, but not the way she expected. Not with heartbreak. With clarity. She watched my face like she was waiting for an explosion. For proof she could call me insecure, jealous, controlling. Anything that put the blame on me. But I didn't give her any reaction. I didn't even blink. She frowned. "You're not saying anything." "You told me not to wait up," I said. "You dressed like that for your ex. You spent hours getting ready." "I'm honestly not shocked." Her eyes widened. Not at my calmness, but at the fact she suddenly had no leverage. She expected devastation. What she got was resignation. "That's not all," she said quickly, trying to regain control of the moment. My jaw tightened. "Keep going." She hesitated, and for the first time since I'd met her, Riley looked trapped. "I didn't kiss him back," she said. "I swear I didn't. But everyone saw. People took pictures. It was bad. Pictures." I repeated slowly. She nodded, eyes darting to her phone. "And then what?" I asked. She swallowed. Hard. He wouldn't stop. He kept talking like we were getting back together. Like I'd been leading him on. He said some things about me. About us. About you. Her hands were shaking. Not from guilt. From fear. "What did he say?" She didn't answer. Because she didn't have to. Because it wasn't just that he kissed her. It was that the kiss wasn't the beginning of the night. It was the reveal. The reveal of whatever she'd been doing leading up to the party. My silence pushed her over the edge. She suddenly rummaged through her purse, grabbed her phone, scrolled fast, then shoved the screen toward me with trembling hands. A photo. A photo taken at the party. Riley, with that emerald dress hugging her body, standing next to Mason, his hands on her waist, her face flushed, her smile too familiar, too intimate, and then him kissing her cheek while she didn't move away. But the real twist? The caption someone else posted above the picture. "Mason and Riley. Back like old times, not a rumor. Not an accident. A declaration." My stomach dropped, but not from heartbreak, from understanding. Because Riley suddenly grabbed my wrist with desperate force and said, "Eli, I swear I didn't know someone posted that. I didn't know it would happen. I didn't know Mason would." She stopped. And right then, I realized she wasn't panicking because she betrayed me. She was panicking because that picture got out. Because someone at the party had already sent it somewhere else. Somewhere she knew I couldn't ignore. Somewhere that made everything much, much worse. Eli, she whispered, voice cracking. Your sister saw it. Riley saying my sister saw the picture hit harder than anything Mason did. Not because I cared about the kiss. Honestly, by then I'd already detached. But because my sister Jenna had been warning me about Riley for years. Jenna didn't do subtle. She didn't do polite. And she didn't do stay out of it. If Jenna saw that picture, she wasn't just texting me. She was mobilizing. And Riley knew it. My phone, which had been off all weekend, buzzed with a backlog of notifications the moment I turned it on. The first message at the top was from Jenna. Call me now. Followed by, I'm not joking. We need to talk about Riley. You need to get out of that apartment. And then a link to the picture. The same one Riley had just shown me. Except Jenna didn't just send the picture. She sent me a screenshot of comments underneath it. The top one. Wasn't she dating someone? Damn. Another. LMAO, Riley always does this. And one more that made my stomach tighten. Can't believe she still has Eli wrapped around her finger. That one. That one told me everything. People knew. People talked. People expected me to stay and take it. Riley was watching my face like it was a timer counting down to an explosion. Eli, she said quickly. You know how people are. They're exaggerating. Mason posted that without asking me. I didn't know he would. I didn't kiss him back. Please, you have to believe me. I didn't answer. Because belief wasn't the issue anymore. Respect was. Choices were. Patterns were. And Riley had shown me hers. I can explain everything, she insisted, stepping closer. We just need to talk before your sister twists this into something it's not. My sister didn't twist anything. She exposed things Riley always tried to hide under charm and tears. But I didn't say that. I just walked past her. Into the bedroom. She followed fast. Eli? What are you doing? Thinking, I said flatly. But really I was planning. Because the second I saw that picture, something inside me locked into place. Call it clarity. Call it self-defense. Call it the moment I finally stopped bending myself around her moods. I pulled out my suitcase from under the bed. Riley gasped. No, Eli. Don't do this. You can't just pack a bag every time something upsets you. You mean like you did for Mason's party? She flinched, but I kept going, calm, methodical, steady. You told me not to wait up, I said. So I didn't. Now you're telling me it was nothing. But you spent 3 hours looking perfect for him. Then he kissed you. And you let him post pictures of you two all night. I didn't let him. He blindsided me. You didn't delete it. You didn't tell him to take it down. You didn't tell anyone at the party you had a boyfriend. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Bingo. I started packing clothes. Slowly. Deliberately. Eli, she whispered, voice collapsing. Where are you going? Somewhere I can think without you trying to control the narrative. Her face twisted. Fear, anger, panic, all vying for control. This is insane, she snapped. We can fix this. You can't just run away. I zipped the suitcase. I'm not running, I said. I'm leaving. She lunged forward and grabbed my arm with both hands. If you walk out that door, Eli, you'll regret it. You're overreacting because of a stupid picture. Think about what you're throwing away. I stared at her hands gripping me, and that was the moment the idea clicked. Sharp, clean, cold. Not revenge. Accountability. No, Riley, I said quietly. I'm thinking about everything you already threw away. I pulled my arm free, grabbed my keys, and headed for the door. Riley stood frozen in the hallway, breathing hard, eyes wild. Where are you going? She demanded again. I turned to her. To get the truth, I said. From someone who was actually at that party. Her face drained of all color, because she knew exactly who I meant. I drove straight to the one place Riley prayed I wouldn't go. Brooke's apartment. Brooke wasn't just Riley's friend. She was the one person in Riley's life who never sugarcoated anything, especially when she was pissed. And judging by the voicemail Brooke left earlier, call me SAP. This is bad. She was very pissed. When she opened her door and saw me standing there, suitcase still in my hand, she didn't even say hello. Oh, thank God, she breathed. Eli, get inside. She pulled me in like I was a firefighter who had finally shown up to a burning building. I didn't want to text you because Riley checks your phone sometimes. Checks my what? She froze. Oh, you didn't know that. I clenched my jaw. But that wasn't why I came here. What happened at the party, Brooke? She looked toward her hallway like she was checking if anyone else was listening, then lowered her voice. You need to sit down for this. I didn't sit. I just stared at her. Brooke exhaled hard. Okay, just don't freak out. People only say that right before they tell you something unforgivable. Mason didn't just kiss her, she said. There was... God, Eli, there was a bet. My blood ran cold. A what? A bet, she repeated. Between Mason and two other guys from their old friend group. They wagered that Riley would still come running if Mason asked. No way. That sounded too cruel. Too humiliating. Even for him. Brooke kept going. It started as a joke earlier in the week. Mason apparently said something like, Riley can't resist me. She's always been obsessed. And the other guys egged him on. At the party, they dared him to prove it. My chest tightened so hard it felt like my ribs might snap. And Riley, I forced out. She went along with it? Brooke winced. She didn't know about the bet. Not at first. Not at first. Meaning eventually. She did. Brooke, I said slowly. What exactly did Riley do when she found out? Brooke hesitated, the kind of hesitation that tells you the truth is worse than the fear. She didn't leave, Brooke said quietly. She confronted Mason, and instead of shutting him down, Brooke swallowed. She asked if he still meant what he said. I stared at her, unsure I heard right. She asked what? Brooke's voice dropped to a whisper. She asked Mason if he really thought she was still obsessed with him. Like she wanted to hear it. Like she needed it. My stomach turned. She told him she was with you, obviously. Brooke rushed. But she also said she missed how he made her feel in high school. That you didn't worship her the way he did. Worship. That word punched a hole straight through me. And then came the real twist. Brooke stepped back, bracing herself. And then Mason told her the bet wasn't just about the kiss. My hands went numb. Brooke, I said carefully. What else was it about? She looked me dead in the eye. He bet that he could get her to leave you. Air left my lungs in a violent rush. And Riley didn't walk away? I asked. Brooke shook her head, shame and anger twisting her expression. She didn't walk away, Eli. She didn't cheat, but she didn't shut it down either. She stayed. She talked. She let him believe he still had a shot. I closed my eyes. It wasn't the kiss. It wasn't the picture. It wasn't the party. It was that Riley needed Mason to want her. Even if it meant betraying me emotionally. Even if it meant letting some pathetic bet play out. Brooke placed a hand on my shoulder. I'm telling you because you deserve the truth. Riley's spiraling because she knows you're not stupid. She knows you'll figure out she didn't go to that party just to reconnect. She went to feel powerful again. To feel wanted. Then Brooke delivered the blow I didn't expect. She told Mason she wasn't sure if she and you were going to last. My entire body went still. Brooke whispered. She said that before the kiss. I didn't go home right away. I stayed in my car across the street from our apartment complex. Engine off. Hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles whitened. I didn't feel angry anymore. Anger would have been clean, sharp, simple. What I felt was hollow. When I finally walked upstairs, the apartment was silent. Riley sat at the dining table, elbows on the wood, staring at the door like she'd been waiting to hear my footsteps. When she saw me, her face broke. Relief first, then fear. Always fear. Eli, she whispered. Please, let me explain. I shut the door behind me. She flinched at the sound. I talked to Brooke, I said. Her breath caught. Okay. Okay. But listen to me first. She told me everything. Riley stood abruptly, hands shaking as she reached for me. I stepped back. She froze mid-reach, fingers trembling in the air between us. Eli, I didn't do anything with Mason, she said. I didn't cheat. That's not the part that bothers me. Something flickered across her face. Panic, then calculation. What part bothers you? Her voice dropped to a broken whisper. I sat down across from her, leaning forward. Why did you go there needing him to want you? Her eyes darted away. I didn't. Why did you tell him you weren't sure if we'd last? She stiffened like I'd slapped her. That's not what I meant. You said it before he kissed you, I said. So it was true in the moment. Silence. A long, terrible silence. Then, she stopped pretending. Her entire posture changed. Her shoulders went back. Her expression hardened. Her eyes lost their tearful fog. It was like watching a mask drop off her face. Fine, she said coldly. You want the truth? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her voice flattened. I didn't want Mason. I didn't want to get back together with him. I went because, she swallowed, because I needed to feel like I still had options. Options. Riley leaned back in her chair, eyes sharp. You've been distant lately, she said. More independent, more confident. And I could feel you slipping away. I wasn't slipping, I said. I was trusting you. That's the problem, she snapped. You got comfortable. You didn't chase me anymore. You didn't get jealous. You didn't fight when I pushed. You just stayed calm. You always stayed calm. She let out a breath, frustrated. Do you know what it feels like for someone you love to stop needing you? I blinked slowly. So you went looking for someone who needed you? No, she said. I went looking for someone who feared losing me. Cold, precise, calculated. Riley continued, voice low, almost clinical. When Mason messaged me earlier in the week, it felt good. It reminded me that I could still get a reaction from someone, that I still had power. I stared at her. Power over what? Over you, she whispered. I needed to know you'd fight for me if you had to. Fight for her. Chase her. Prove I could lose her. So you dressed up, I said. You told me not to come. You wanted to weaponize jealousy. Her eyes glistened with something that wasn't remorse. It works for other couples, she said. Sometimes you need to shake things up so the other person doesn't get bored. I exhaled slowly. Riley, you didn't go to that party to feel loved. You went to feel powerful. She didn't deny it. She just said, I needed you to remember I was worth losing. I stared at her for a long moment. This woman I thought I knew, realizing the horrifying truth. She hadn't been scared that Mason kissed her. She'd been terrified that I didn't blow up, scream, or collapse. Terrified that her manipulation didn't work. Terrified that, for the first time, I wasn't under her control. And that was the coldest part. Riley didn't want partnership. She wanted leverage. She wanted a relationship where she could threaten to leave and know I'd beg. She wanted a man she could break down. She wanted me powerless. And when I didn't crumble, she realized she'd lost the one thing that mattered to her most. Control. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I didn't even look angry. Riley expected chaos. Screaming, begging. Some messy display of emotion she could interpret as love. All she got was quiet. Cold, steady, unshakable quiet. Eli, she said, voice cracking for real now. Say something. Okay, I said. Here's something. I stood up slowly, pushed my chair back, and walked to the bedroom. Riley followed, confused panic pulling her forward like a string. What are you doing? Ending this, I said. Her breath hitched. Ending what? Us. The word hung in the air like smoke. She lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You don't mean that. You're just hurt. We can fix this. I'll delete Mason. I'll block everyone who was at that party. I don't want you to delete people. I pulled my arm away. I want you to respect me. And you don't. Her lips parted. That's not true. You went to that party because you needed someone else to make you feel powerful, I said. You admitted it. You didn't go there by accident. You didn't get blindsided. You planned it. She shook her head violently. No, it wasn't like that. Yes, it was. And even if it wasn't, the second you found out Mason made a bet, you should have left. You should have called me. You should have shut him down so hard he'd never even try something like that again. Her eyes flooded with tears. Instead of saying sorry, she whispered, I wasn't ready to leave. That right there, her wanting to stay long enough to enjoy being wanted by her ex before deciding I was her safe backup, was the moment I knew I was done. I zipped my suitcase. Where are you going? She choked out. To my brother's. Until I find a new place. You can't just abandon me, she screamed. I stopped in the doorway. You abandoned me first. The second you decided you needed someone else to validate you. She crumpled, sobbing in that dramatic way she always used when she felt losing control. But I wasn't pulled in by it anymore. Not this time. I opened the door. Eli, please, she whispered. Just tell me what to do to fix this. I turned back just once. You can't fix something you broke on purpose. Then I left. The next 2 weeks were chaotic for her, not for me. She flooded my phone with every tactic in her arsenal. Apologies, rage, guilt trips, promises, threats, excuses, long paragraphs about our history, short messages like, please don't leave me. I didn't block her. I just didn't respond. Real accountability is quieter than revenge. It's colder. It's cleaner. A week after I moved out, Brooke texted me. She's telling everyone Mason tricked her. Of course she was. But then came the twist I didn't expect. Mason himself messaged me. Not an apology, just a 2-sentence confession. She knew about the bet before the kiss. She stayed anyway. That's on her. I didn't reply to him either. Some things don't deserve responses. 3 months later, I had my own apartment in South End. Small, clean, quiet. Mine. I started sleeping better, eating better, thinking clearly. Riley sent one last message. You ruined everything. And for once, I actually smiled. I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped participating. My final message to her was simple. No, you ruined it. I just refused to stay ruined with you. And that was it. Closure. Self-respect. Freedom.